Go retweet it. Is the music good? Are you guys jamming? Because I can't hear it.
Jamming.
Oh, you can't hear it?
No, I have no idea what's playing or when it's done or anything at
great.
all.
Oh, we're jamming out. It's mellow, but it's jammish.
Nice. That's what we need. Ryan deemed this day Good Vibes Friday, so let's keep it that way on the Denver Sports Podcast.
Quit the cast for that undertaking.
All right, before we get going, WGT Golf is the game to play on your phone or computer. It's the most popular golf game in the world and in the DNVR community. So many of you have joined us in that game that we've had to open a third DNVR clubhouse. Each clubhouse holds up to 250 people, so there's so many DNVR members playing WGT Golf. Stop feeling left out and download WGT and join the DNVR 3 clubhouse by going to dnvrgolf.com. We have tournaments within the DNVR community every weekend, and one starts tonight, of course, so don't forget to go to dnvrgolf.com to download that today. Welcome into the Denver Sports Podcast, presented by the one and only Breckenridge Brewery, the official beer of DNVR. We need some air horns. I don't have some. There we go. We need the energy lift. There we go. Drew's already drinking a Breck brew.
I can't believe Drew's being celebrated for drinking a beer at noon.
It's the world we live in.
Watch the Rockies. I was gonna say you can't.
Well, I mean, I can imagine him being tolerated, but he's being uplifted. The rest of us were shamed for not drinking a beer at noon.
Yo, have you guys? But speaking of, first we got to give a shout out. Strawberry Sky is amazing, but also you can't be watching the Avs kick ass in round one without drinking an Avalanche ale. So if you don't have any, check out Breckenridge Brewery for round 2 to grab your Avalanche ale, or you can check out their beer locator on their website so that you can find wherever you can get Breck brews closest to you. But has anyone seen the new Broncos beer yet? Because the can looks amazing.
No, there's a new Broncos beer?
Yes, I don't know if they've officially released it, but they have.
We just did.
No, I just broke the news for it. No, they have teased it, and the can. There's pictures of them. Let me see if I can find it.
I saw
about your favorite breakfast.
A spiced pumpkin latte beer this morning come in, so that would be appropriate to drink at this time. You know. Yeah.
A little PSL.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
When you Google it, it's still the orange, United and orange, but it's somewhere on Twitter. It's amazing. It looks really dope.
Somewhere on Twitter, nice.
Somewhere on Twitter. I wish I should have been more prepared.
All of Twitter.
Sorry, I should have been more prepared and had that one up. I didn't think I would talk about it, but it's so cool. But we do have that pumpkin spice one. I'm excited to try it out because I've only ever seen it. I haven't tried it out. But of course, Breck Brew is amazing. So go check out the beer locator and find yourself some Breck Brew, or come down to the DNVR bar. We have 8 Breck Brews on tap. But I'm your host, Allie Monroy, and with me today, I've got AJ Hafley in that corner, Andre Simone in that corner,
Nice.
Drew Kreisman. I can't get this right. I've pointed at every wrong person. And Eric Weedham, D-Line Co. here. It's a busy day at DNVR. We're all swamped. So this is going to be a quick show. We're going to get to all of the Denver sports news we have going on. We have all 4 sports to talk about today, but it will be a quick one. We got to start off with the Avs securing a trip to round 2 after scoring 14 goals in the last 2 games of their first round series against the Coyotes. Let's go over that series real quick before moving on to the next matchup. AJ, what was your favorite part of the round 1 series?
It ending, just getting it over with, getting those not having to watch those damn scrubs anymore. The Avs were so much better than those guys that not having to deal with that anymore is going to be nice. Getting on to round 2 where a proper NHL team is allowed to be on the ice against Colorado will be a nice. It'll up the ante a little bit. Get the blood pressure going, you know.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what about their play was your favorite part? People are laughing at you just saying it
I don't
ending. Like I was like
Honestly,
excited for a good answer there. You're like it ending. It being done.
Can we acknowledge AJ just murdering the coyotes on our live stream just now? Just quickly just dismissing them as a non-NHL.
R.I.P. You know.
Yeah,
RIP,
I mean,
truly.
a joke. It was a joke, dude.
Yeah.
Honestly, on ice, I guess my favorite part would just be that the power play was good. It was good. It was good throughout the series, even though everybody that wanted to talk to me about the Avs continued to complain about the power play because I guess for the first 4 games they weren't paying attention. And then game 5, they were like, oh, hey, look, it scored goals. That means it's good. And whatever. I'm happy that it's tops in the NHL now. That was fun. But again, when you're doing it against a JV squad that doesn't belong, it's really just, was it really just practice? Like a really glorified practice that'll count in the books?
We're talking about practice.
My favorite part was that after what was it what was the one game that was it game 2 that you had the Coyotes goalie standing on his head?
That was like games 1, 2, and 3.
But which was the game?
Game 3 was the one they won.
The 50 save game was.
So game 4 I came in and producer Guy was like, oh, I'm pretty nervous. Like we had the shirt to launch and everyone was like, we can't get too ahead of ourselves. I'm like, you guys, they're going to score 5. They're going to win by 5 goals this game. And I was wrong. They won by 6.
All over the pod that night. After the game 3 loss, Rudo and I went on the pod. It was as one of our listeners dubbed it, 19 minutes of hate. As I basically
love producing those shows. By the way, they are so entertaining, and we've got here. Very interested to see how Denim Daddy gets worked into this pod. You just worked it into this pod.
Yeah,
there you go.
That easy. Honestly, it was obvious. It was obvious to us, to Rudo and myself, that they were going to smash the rest of that series.
No kidding.
And people were like, oh my gosh, but this one historical time that I can think of. Like, you know why you can name that one time it happened? Because it happened once.
Right.
Because it sticks out. You don't think about all the other times in which a guy has 1 or 2 great performances and then gets smoked and gets left in the dust. Like, okay. It's just like, no. That they were bad. They were getting blown out. They had a heroic performance one time that bailed them out. It was not going to continue. It most definitely did not continue.
No.
And we got double Brazils out of it, which was pretty delightful.
Pretty delightful. No, for the Carry Me Home shirt that we released, it just they wanted to release it in the middle of the second and third period.
Yeah, that's right.
And with hockey, at that point, I think we were talking in the first period. With hockey, you never know what can happen.
I knew it was happening.
Maybe let's just wait until after. It'll still be great feeling. But hockey, you literally never know. There were 6 overtimes in one of the games this round.
Yeah, look at last night's game between Dallas and Calgary. Calgary scores 3 goals in the first 6.5 minutes and loses 7-3. So
that's why, Eric. Don't hit me with that. You knew they were going to win. It was just maybe if we release this and then the Coyotes come and score 7 goals, everyone's going to blame us.
Please don't ever release a new shirt in the middle of a Rockies game. Ever, please. By the way.
I'm sorry. Why? Because I might change the luck and they'll win? What's the issue?
For people watching the live stream, these are our 2 new shirts. The Carry Me Home one that I was talking about, that is amazing. The Sombor Shuffle, though, is amazing as well. Yes. And then we've got these Rockies one, Larry Walker Hall of Fame, and Colorado Rakes, even though they don't really rake right now.
Hey, the bats weren't the problem the last 2 days. 8 and 6 runs. That wasn't the issue.
Well, we will get to more Rockies talk in a bit. But AJ, all right, we talked about what your favorite part was. What's something you think the Avs need to work on heading into the next round? Anything?
No.
Anything?
Anything at all?
Honestly, their 5v5 play was dominant. Their PK was virtually perfect. Their power play was excellent. That was as dominant of a playoff series as you will ever see in your life.
How about even the face-offs looking good, huh?
I mean, they're a mediocre face-off team these days. It's just one of those things that, again, we like to complain about because we've been doing it for a long time. That even in the face of data that suggests we might be wrong, we have to continue to be upset about it.
We've got Colorado TRV saying stop turning it over in their own zone. That's Travis, right? Yes.
I mean, I can count on one hand the number of times that it happened in like meaningful ways in that series. So,
but when they're so dominant, you have to pick at the little things that they can improve on, so that there aren't those little mistakes.
Like they weren't perfect, but I mean, you're never going to be against any team, as we just saw. If you couldn't be perfect against those guys, you never will be. So it's fine. Like it's fine. It really is. It's fine.
It's okay. All right.
Like whatever anybody has decided to be upset about that series, they're overblowing.
14 goals in 2 games. Like, wow, they killed it. They hadn't scored 7 goals in a playoff game since 2002. Pretty crazy.
Yeah, I mean, they only gave up what, 6 goals in the series?
Yeah.
6, I think, is 7 goals because one of them was 4.
2.
Right. One of them was 4 with the empty netter.
Yeah, they had two empty netters in game 3, and they scored 2 real goals.
We
I'm
got
just
Travis
watching
here
the doggo.
saying, I mean, I don't think anyone is upset. Allie just asked the question, and then that was his
Yeah,
response.
I mean,
and then we've got Michael.
They played as well as you possibly can.
Michael saying AJ is on one today.
It's playoff AJ. I'm on one every day.
With that, we're going to move on to the next series. Or Dre, do you have a
goalies
question?
had 6 goals scored on them, and then 8 in the whole series, but 2 of those came on empty netters. So yeah, not bad. Did they even face like 20 shots in multiple games that series?
Yeah,
that was insane.
I think 3 of the games they got 20 shots.
Congrats.
All right, AJ, the Avs are playing the Stars, the Dallas Stars. It was just announced. You let us know in our Slack just a few minutes ago. Avs Stars game 1 is tomorrow at 6 p.m. Crazy the turnaround on that. I thought at least it would be Monday, but maybe this will make it so that it doesn't interfere with Nuggets. So then we have one every other day, which would be great because that way we can pack this place with 50 people. COVID regulations apply.
It would also be nice. It would also be nice for us to do a post-game show without people screaming 10 times in a row for goals that are continually scored.
The Nuggets guys and Eric included.
The Nuggets should try winning games.
They did. They're 1-1. What are you talking about?
So
Eric and the Nuggets guys they were doing their post-game show. They're talking about what went wrong, and all of a sudden there's like 4 goals scored, and they're like, really? Like, yay Avs, but like, what is going on?
Read the room, Avs. Come on.
They did, and that's why they made it a better room.
Not for us. Not for us.
We did not run out of goal shots this time around for anyone curious. We were prepared after the first 7-1 game for the Avs. But, all right, AJ, Avs Stars, is there anything you're concerned about in this matchup? How do you feel about it?
I'm picking the Avs in 5.
In 5, okay.
Yeah. They're like a souped-up version of Arizona, but not so souped up I'm all that worried about it. I've been hating on the Stars this entire time. They got kind of a free pass into the series because Calgary loses their best player at the beginning of the series, and they don't have a real NHL caliber goaltender in net. So pretty good matchup for them. Now they're going to have to actually go against a real goaltender and a team that doesn't suck. So good luck with that, Dallas. I think Colorado should have a pretty easy time with Dallas. I just don't think Dallas is very good.
Okay, we got Michael asking, is that with or without Bishop?
So far, it's been without Bishop. If Ben Bishop plays, it changes it because Ben Bishop is very good and kind of has Colorado's number historically. But as long as he's not playing and Khudobin's in net, I like Colorado's chances.
The Avs did play the Stars in the round robin and beat them.
Yeah, beat them 4-0 in a game that was not competitive.
Seems pretty good.
Also, a team that doesn't give up 3-goal leads willy-nilly.
Yeah,
Another
Colorado
comment we've got.
does not give up very many 3-goal leads.
Calgary, man, they blew it yesterday. Jeez,
Yeah, they did.
If you are watching and you're a hockey fan in general, AJ and Andre recorded a podcast yesterday on DNVR Bets Daily talking about what you should bet on the NHL Playoff series moving forward. Yeah. Definitely go check that out. But, with that, what a smooth transition. Oh. Can you bet on spinny goals?
Oh, no spinning goal problem.
Maybe that's something we have to have a conversation with DraftKings about.
That's what I mean. Over under 1.5 spinning goals.
Is 0.5 a spinny goal? Is just a half spin?
Can't do it.
Yeah.
Has to be in the box.
Yeah, that was a very serious. Yeah. Yep. All right. Well, with that, it's a perfect transition. Let's move on. Before we get into some Denver Nuggets talk, DraftKings Sportsbook is putting you in the center of the action for the NBA playoffs. To celebrate basketball's first round, DraftKings is giving you an amazing free bet offer. For every day that you bet at least $20 on basketball, they'll give you a $10 free bet. Head to the app right now and check out all they have to offer, including player props, quarter-by-quarter betting, and so much more. Dre, give us one bet that intrigues you for today. You guys already recorded DNVR Bets Daily, so for a lot more detail about that, go check that out. But Dre, give me one.
I mean, both the over here, where offenses have kind of been unleashed, and both the Jazz and Nuggets don't really have an answer defensively for how to stop the other team's strength. And I think that's even more so the case with Mike Conley in the game today. I think the over is a safe bet, especially under 220 points. And, Jokic really needs to score for this team to do anything. So him going over 23.5 points seems like a safe bet as well, especially at basically even money at -110.
I think you gave me more than one, but okay.
That's how I do it.
There you go, people. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the code DNVR when you sign up. Like I mentioned, for a limited time, all new users can get a $10 free bet when placing a bet on $20 or more on all first-round playoff action. Use the code DNVR. Must be 21 or older. Colorado only. Other terms and conditions and restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. And of course, if you have a gambling problem, be sure to call 1-800-522-4700. Eric, are you there? You're kind of freezing, and we're about to talk.
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you not hear me?
I can hear you. You're just a little
frozen.
frozen.
Who wants to see me anyway? That's really nice. That's not why I'm here on Earth, is for people to look at me.
Okay, there we go. But your positioning was sad.
Oh,
it was sad, like you were sad on Wednesday.
My positioning as a human being is just generally sad. But today I'm feeling very hopeful, and I'm feeling very optimistic going into Game 3 against the hated Utah Jazz, the loathsome, terrible Utah Jazz that deserve no love, and the Denver Nuggets.
Hold on 1 second. Someone said Avalanche play tomorrow. Zipster, we covered that earlier. Tomorrow at 6 p.m. We'll be putting in Eventbrite, so if you want to come watch it at the DNVR bar, look out for social on that. But Eric, good vibes Friday, and you're feeling the good vibes.
GVF, baby, let's do this. Yes, absolutely. Like, what's not to feel good about? The Nuggets have beaten the Jazz this season 4 times. They've lost 1 time. The time they lost was the last time. And it was a really weird game. Like, the Nuggets sort of changed up their strategy. They went really heavy on Nikola Jokic in the block, which is not how they generally play their offense flows. Nikola Jokic is always just sort of a facilitator, and he's a generally unwilling scorer. He'll do it if he has to, but they seem to decide that it was going to be Jokic versus Gobert heavily, and it just kind of mucked up everybody else's potential and everybody else's offense. Like, nobody else was really contributing. Jamal Murray was super tentative. After coming off of such a hot game, I was really confused to see that he still scored. You guys
said it was he had arrived after.
I still believe that. I absolutely still believe that. I just kind of think that the way that they structured the offense sort of took the ball and took the moxie out of him early, and then he sort of, after the game, he was quoted as saying he felt indecisive, which is not what you want out of your primary ball handler. So I expect there to be some adjustments made today. Mike Conley is coming back for the Jazz, but ironically, I think that's actually going to hurt the Jazz more than help them. Like throughout the season, Mike Conley is actually the Jazz has played worse with Mike Conley in the lineup for whatever reason. One reason potentially is that it's taking the ball out of Donovan Mitchell's hands.
Yeah,
and just sort of. Because we've learned, if you didn't know already, like Donovan Mitchell is a volume scorer. He puts up a lot of shots. He's been extremely efficient in the series, which is not really one of his hallmarks.
Yeah, game 1 he had 57 points. Game 2 he had 30 points.
Yes, but typically when the series started, I was like, well, what to expect is Donovan Mitchell will score at minimum 35 points a game, but I expect the Jazz to lose by 10 points every game. That hasn't exactly been the case, but we did win that first game by 10 points, and the second game we did not win, but that, whatever, that was an aberration. Things happen. The Avalanche lost a game to the lowly Coyotes, so, things happen in playoff sports. So, people are kind of freaking out a little bit just because we were just so manhandled.
It looked, the fourth quarter was just.
It was bad. The Nuggets, they really got punched in the mouth, and they were just like, okay, that we'll accept. Thank you for that punch. We'll take that, and we'll just go right back to the bench. So, but the Nuggets are
lay down for the count.
But the Nuggets, if anything, this season and in general, have proven that they are a resilient, gritty squad. Like they spent the entire season just like kind of gutting out wins, and no one was really happy with the way that it looked. It wasn't like super beautiful basketball, but they secured the number 3 seed in the Western Conference in a time where the Western Conference is as strong as it's ever been. And so they're just a good team. It's just, like you just don't ever know what you're going to get. Obviously this bubble experience is like obviously nothing we've ever seen. We have this neutral court experience. There's obviously no concept of home court advantage. It's a lot like March Madness, and we've seen like a lot of like really strange results happening, like the Orlando Magic, like bludgeoning the Milwaukee Bucks in the first game, and then the Lakers getting beat by the Portland, and then things are just sort of swinging back and forth. So I definitely
but
expect
we heard
that
the Lakers Portland game was because LeBron James plays for the fans, and there was no fans.
Yeah. Well, but it's funny, like
them.
LeBron James didn't even have that great of a game this last game. It's just when it comes to the Lakers, it's really all Anthony Davis at this point. Like he had a really good game, so they rolled. But
with the Lakers on in the conversation, how do you think that series is going to go now with Damian Lillard out?
Oh, the Blazers are cooked. They're cooked. Like before we even started that series, just looking at the way that the Blazers were winning these games, they were barely gutting out a bunch of wins against the Memphis Grizzlies and like just bottom tier teams, and they were barely getting by, but it was like really inspiring because blah 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 blah. But they don't have any defense, they have no interior defense. The Lakers make their bones off of having big 7-foot guys that can just go yam it in the paint. So
it's so funny after last year's playoffs. I'm not a big fan of Portland or their team, and our guys are here betting on Portland, obviously on DraftKings Sportsbook,
of course,
because you don't bet on the Lakers, and I'm just like, the Trailblazers are so annoying.
Yeah, no, there's no, it's gambling on games and being principled about the games that you're betting on are incompatible. Yeah. There's no extra bonus for fading a team that you hate. So, but that series is that's going to be over soon. But this series with the Nuggets, this is going to be a hard fought series for sure. Last year when the Nuggets went up against the Spurs, they lost 2 of the first 3 games and they won the series. The Nuggets did. So I don't know. It's just the emotional roller coaster.
What's your realistic expectation? Do you think we're going to go all the way to a game 7, or do you think the Nuggets can finish this off in 5, or are you going to have a clearer picture after today's game at 2:00?
It's so hard to even make a prediction because of the fact that when you look at playoff series in general, you factor in the home court advantage. And so you sort of just chalk up 2 wins for each team, just knowing that, it's really difficult to win in the other team's gym. So, I mean, I have no idea. Like, the Nuggets could absolutely come out and just smack them like they did this season, and it could be over in 5. It could easily go to 7 games. The Jazz could win. I mean, really anything's on the table at this point. So I don't know. I mean, it's such an unprecedented year that you can't really draw from your, past experience of watching basketball.
Yeah. All right. My last question for you, Eric, before you have to head out, is the Nuggets are still without Gary Harris and Will Barton, and now it's being reported that Will Barton has left the bubble and gone home. What exactly is going on with that?
Well, I mean, Will Barton, obviously, he said his knee wasn't responding to rehab the way he wanted it to in the bubble. He wasn't getting any better. So at a certain point, like, what is he doing there? You might as well go and try and get it to where, get it healed up outside and, have more access to his own trainers or whatever. But, you can take that and look at that and say, like, okay, well, Gary Harris has not left. So that gives you a feeling like he probably will come back at a certain point. Gary's dealing with a hip and Will was dealing with a knee. So, a little bit different there. But it seems to me like Gary Harris will make a return at some point, of course, if the Nuggets stay in long enough.
All right, well, Game 3 is today at 2 p.m. The DNVR watch party is sold out, unfortunately. But because of that, don't forget to check out our event calendar on the DNVR.com to RSVP early for all of our events. Like I said, we're making an Eventbrite for that Avs game tomorrow as soon as possible. Michaela's doing it right now. So definitely don't forget to RSVP for that. We also have a few more spots left for Game 4 on Sunday at 7 p.m. But if you need a place to watch in this place, you come over here and it's sold out. Definitely check out our friends over at Blake Street Tavern. They have an awesome outdoor setup as well.
No doubt. And if I may, keep an eye out in this next coming week. We did 2 shirt drops this last week. We're going to do 2 more this next week, potentially 3. So it's go time, baby.
More shirts. Look at that. Eric
it's on and it's popping.
Blessing the world with some more shirts.
I get tired of people yelling at me to make shirts, so I just sat down and I made a whole bunch of GD shirts. So.
you were getting yelled at for
I get yelled at all the time. If anything comes up and somebody's like a funny phrase gets on TV or something and my mentions just blow up, they're like, where's the shirt? Where's the shirt? I'm like, I don't know. You make the shirt. I don't want to make the shirt.
Just like this one right here. Where are the shorts?
Michael, where are the denim daddy shirts?
No.
We don't even do shirts anymore.
I know.
You're not making shorts. You can make your own shorts.
Probably everyone has heard me say this, but I really have created a reality for myself where people just scream at me to do work. People that I've never met just yell at me to do work all the time. It's amazing.
Like the denim daddy mafia that really wants their denim daddy shirt.
Yeah, which I in good conscience cannot make. You're going to be waiting forever for a denim daddy shirt.
It's too niche. Like, literally, people will see that on DNVR Locker and be like, what the hell is this?
And I'm not making shorts either. I made the most 90s ass shirt I could possibly make. I put a random squiggle in there. There's a wayward triangle. I put 3 different fonts in. Like, I thought of tried to make every possible 90s thing I could think of. That font up top is like used in the show Friends. I mean, like, what do you want from me? So that's the t-shirt version of jorts.
Friends. I was thinking it was the magazine cutout letters you see in ransom letters.
Well, the Carry Me Home kind of is, but the Turn the Lights Off is in. That's like an exquisitely 90s font. So, get off me. No, I'm not making jorts. No one say the word jorts to me ever again.
Michael said, on our last show, Michael wrote in the comments, like, I talked to Eric. The jorts are in the making, like, it's gonna happen. And I was like, I don't think so.
No jorts. We're going jortless here at the GD DNVR. And by the way, the problem with jorts is just the word jort. Like,
No.
Otherwise, they're just shorts that are denim. Everybody wears shorts all the time. You would wear denim shorts, but unfortunately, the word jorts exists, so now they can never happen again.
Yes,
No,
you gotta get the big belt buckle that's in the shape of Texas. Yeah.
No, a '90s thing would be to wear jorts with a braided belt.
Oh no! Eric, did you do that? Is that why you know about it?
Do I have to remind you that I'm 100 years old? Yes, of course I did that.
Yeah.
What am I going to buck the entire culture of the USA at that point in time? Like, no, I went along with it. I had jorts. I had a braided belt. Things were good. And I heard you, Allie, think that jorts needed to be cut off. Not the case. Those are called cutoffs.
Okay, my apologies. I call jean shorts that I wear jean shorts. Jorts, I always thought were specifically the ones that you cut off and turn into.
No, the word jorts.
Anyways, this is the Denver Sports Podcast, so we should probably move on to some more Denver sports.
We're not allowed to talk Rockies
about jorts isn't a sport.
The Denver Jorts Podcast.
All right, Eric, thank you for hopping on.
Let's go, Nuggets. Let's go.
Eric will be at the bar later today, so if you're here, you got tickets, definitely come say hello to him. Okay, AJ, you just waited until he left. Look, he's shaking his head back here.
You suck, AJ.
and he leaves like that.
People who are wrong a lot feel that way.
Season here. Please stop giving AJ ideas. I don't need this in my life. I'm on your side. I don't want any of it.
She's gonna be so upset when she shows up, and I already have that belt buckle.
No.
Oh no.
Oh goodness gracious! I love how this show just turned into half a fashion podcast.
Fashion show at lunch. It is noon.
It is. All right, I know AJ said, I guess, well, first, Avs got us smiling. Hopefully the Nuggets will also do the same today. And if you aren't the biggest fan of your smile right now, head over to Green Mountain Dental Group and they'll take care of it for you. When you schedule a cleaning, x-ray, and exam, you'll get a free Sonicare toothbrush. That's right, a free Sonicare toothbrush. All you got to do when you schedule cleaning, x-ray, and exam. Besides that awesome perk, Green Mountain Dental Group is family-owned and honestly one of the best dentists in Colorado. Our sales director, Lindsay, got her wisdom teeth removed a few weeks ago, and she said it was the best dentist experience she has ever had in her life. I will also be going to Green Mountain Dental to get my wisdom teeth removed. We've been a little busy since sports came back, so I don't know when I have time to allow my face to be a chipmunk, as I am on camera a lot, but I soon will be going to Green Mountain Dental Group to get my wisdom teeth removed after the awesome review Lindsay gave us. Plus, they're all Denver sports fans, and supporting them helps us here at DNVR. Don't forget to schedule a cleaning, x-ray, and exam at Green Mountain Dental Group, and you will receive a free Sonicare toothbrush. AJ, you said no Rockies talk, but we're talking Rockies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What was that laugh?
Yeah.
Denver fashion tips and makeup was fun. Yes, because you had fun because the Rockies dropped every game against the Astros in this 4-game set. Drew, what the heck is going on?
Baseball's weird, dumb game. And it was a weird, dumb series. And there's really not much to be made from it. There were a couple of random individual things that just... one of them was they lost a game in extras on that. There's the new rule that the first game they've played in extras, all of that was bizarre. The first game was a joke from an umpire who shouldn't be in the league.
That means something coming from you.
No, I mean, that's just, I had written that in the offseason for reasons far beyond him having an absolute terrible reputation and just on the field as an umpire. And then he purposely tried to get into a fight with Kyle Freeland. And then he purposefully called pitches improperly out of retribution. And it was ridiculous. But third game.
Look, that's how a pro handles his business.
Just really that guy shouldn't be allowed on an MLB diamond. And it's kind of absurd that Major League Baseball never addressed the fact that on Twitter he threatened to shoot people. Doesn't exactly have the best temperament and judgment, does Rob?
I hadn't heard about that, so I bet a few of our listeners hadn't either. But
yes, that was a thing that happened. I did write about it on the DNVR.com. So
Nice.
well, I'm gonna have to go search for that because that's wow. Okay.
Yeah, that got swallowed up a little bit in the week of news that also included the Houston Astros assistant GM getting fired because he made misogynistic remarks at one of the best baseball reporters in the world. And then about 3 days later, it was found out that they'd been cheating for years. So like stuff kind of got swallowed up. The fact that Rob Drakeson threatening to shoot people he politically disagrees with got kind of swallowed up. And Major League Baseball hasn't accounted for that, and he was way too much of a factor in the series, which is too bad. But the Rockies also did get thoroughly outplayed by the Astros and started making mistakes that they haven't been making for most of the season. The biggest one coming yesterday when Germán Marquez just gave up, which is, I was quite frankly appalled. He just gave in and lost a game for the Rockies by himself. And you can't do that if you're going to be the ace of a staff. He gave up 10 runs out of frustration, out of mental, like he had his stuff. And he also struck out like 8 guys, something like that. Like he beat himself and allowed the Rockies. So ultimately, I guess what I'm trying to say is the Rockies are in a really bad spot right now. It's obviously been a terrible stretch, but most of what's been bothering them, especially over this series with the Astros, I don't think is sustainable. Is it bad? Yes. Does it need to be fixed?
Yeah.
Yes. But I don't think Nolan Arenado is going to hit 225 for the year. I don't think Germán Marquez is going to give up 10 runs in a game again. I don't think the Rockies are going to have too many games this season where both starters pitch 8-inning, 3-hit shutouts, and then the game goes to extras and is decided on a kind of a random coin flip of which ball happened to fall into the outfield or not. Most of those things just aren't sustainable. The Rockies are. Yeah. We also have to remember, too, that this isn't the normal postseason. I see a lot of people going, dude, the Dodgers are running away with the division. Look, I know we floated before the season because it's 60 games that maybe all kinds of easy things can happen. But the chances the Rockies were going to take the division from the Dodgers was always remarkably low. The interesting thing about this year, though, is that matters way less than it used to. Because in the past, in any other year, if you don't win your division, then the best you can do is be a wild card team, which means that you've got an absolute uphill battle to climb just to get to face off against the number one team in the National League, the Dodgers, if you get that far. In this case, it's like an NBA season. We've got a 16-team playoff, and the Rockies are the 5 seed, or sort of between the 4 and 5 seed, which those two teams play each other, so whatever. Now that
and you noted, Drew, that the bats were on. They weren't bad yesterday. They scored 8 runs.
Finally came alive yesterday. Totally. Tapia has finally gotten it going. Ryan McMahon's gotten out of the strikeout slump that he's been in. 2 huge home runs the other day. Again, yeah, I don't think it is they were this last week. Not because the Rockies don't have, basically a league average offense. They do, and it's bolstered a lot of times by their superstars. But that's exactly what they've been missing. Charlie Blackmon fell off the cliff after the hot start, which was you expected him to cool down. Quiet there, and Nolan Arenado hasn't, in any way bolstered that half of it. And so I don't think that's an outlandish claim to make. And because of that, I think the Rockies will be fine. It'll just be interesting to see how this season, how much time is left. Better their playoff seeding, because that's really what you're talking about here. As long as you're a 500 team, you're comfortably in the playoffs, and then it's all you getting matched up against.
Yeah. If they continue the streak and lose against the Dodgers in this next series, is it time to worry? Drew, we can't hear you. I think you're frozen.
I mean, it's probably already time to worry. Oh, no.
You're getting a bit disconnected.
Yeah, am I in
AJ,
real
you were
time?
shaking your head. Dre, what do you guys think?
I think it's time to worry now.
Now,
Yeah,
even before the Dodgers series?
Yeah, I mean, you just don't have time in this baseball season. You don't have time for slumps like this.
Yeah.
And that's really it. Like the Dodgers are running away with it. And hey, when they were dead even with the Dodgers, you were playing with house money. You knew it wasn't going to keep up, and you were feeling like, hey, the longer this goes on, the better they have a chance to run away from second place, which is what they need to get into the postseason. Now that the Dodgers have basically separated themselves significantly from them, now they've given up all the cushion that they built. They've given all of it back. Like they're behind San Diego, and they're now they're dealing with San Diego and Arizona both because they've fallen apart, and like the big gap that they built up early on in the year is totally gone. It's time to worry now. They've got to figure it out now. There's no more. We'll get through this. We can have a rough week and we'll get it back next week. Like the good thing is that they lost all these games to teams that aren't in their division.
Yep.
Like every loss wasn't it didn't hurt the same way losing to San Diego head to head will hurt.
Yeah.
So, they have a lot of division games left, and that's probably the blessing in disguise here is that, hey, they decided to be bad during a soft part of their schedule where they were playing teams that it doesn't hurt them to lose directly outside of just losing the game. It's not helping one of their direct competitors in the way that it does when they lose to like a San Diego or an Arizona head to head.
Drew, what do you think?
I mean, I generally agree that there should be plenty of worry now already, definitely. But I don't like. I see what AJ is saying about how they've erased their early cushion, but in a season this short, it's like they don't have to give back from that 11-3 start. Like all of the count, and the fact that both the Padres and the Diamondbacks have shown that they can get cold and go into those stretches too, and I think that they both will. I think the divisional thing is the most important thing, as AJ pointed out. Like the Rockies got cold at the right time if they're going to get hot again. And yeah, if they come out again, I think it has to be, and it's tougher in a 60-game season, but in baseball, to me, it's almost always more about the process than the end results until you're getting down to you're 5 games out with 10 games to play or whatever it is. Like then your process don't matter that much. But they just need to play good baseball consistently, and wins will start to come. They need to have their starting pitching do well, and they can't have any more of these blips because offensive slumps happen. They'll happen to other teams, and they'll get cold too. But yeah, I mean, so if they go out and only win 1 game in LA, I think some people will be ready to burn the whole thing down. And depending on how they play, I think it could be a very positive sign.
Yeah, the Rockies kind of feel like one of those raw prospects who you look at and you say, man, they've got all the tools to turn this around. Everything that they're missing is coachable and can be developed. Like, we know we have the bats to find some rhythm and be an offensive juggernaut. That the bullpen, it'll have its ups and downs. But it'll more or less find kind of a standard of reliability. You can rely on these starters, but everything else.
This comment hurt. The Rockies feel like the Buffs. It's just
No,
pain.
they don't. The Buffs are way more incompetent than that.
Well,
AJ,
I guess I was thinking about
Good
that too.
Vibes Friday.
But you got to think like the last 2
It's
years
Honest Vibes Friday.
they were ranked in the 20s and started the year 4-0 or 4-1. So I guess it does kind of feel like the Buffs. Good point. Good analogy. I buy it.
Anyways, moving on to the Broncos. The Rockies take on the Dodgers starting tonight, 6:40, right, Drew?
Yeah, I think that's right. And again, just pitch good. That's if they pitch well, just just do that, and good things are going to happen for this team because Nolan Arenado will not hit 225 this year. Take the over on your DraftKings Sportsbook app.
All right. Well, transitioning into the Broncos, I found that Breck Brew beer I was talking about. Look at that can.
No way.
Yeah.
Right, that's awesome.
Holy
Isn't
cow,
it so
that's
cool?
insane.
Broncos Country Hoppy Pale Ale.
I like the can.
I
Yeah.
know. We'll have to taste the beer, but I do love everything I've had from Breck Brew pretty much. So yeah, it's an awesome can. As soon as we know where we can buy them, where we can find them, we'll let you know. It might even be just like cool to have a collection of or one of those cans, as some people used to collect beer cans and all that good stuff.
That
I
can
love
makes
them.
me want that same logo and design in a barrel and wear it as the Barrelman 2.0 and pick up the Barrelman's legacy. I mean, I think we need it
There
in
you go.
Denver. And if I can get that design, I will step up and do it. I vow
How
that to our city right now.
how would your daughter feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, more than
Proud.
her, it's she would be proud. I mean, gosh, talk about a legacy that will carry on for generations. But it's more my wife that I fear.
That I fear is the key word in that.
Giving up my Sundays to pick up the Barrelman's legacy, that's a tough sell. Even for my argumentative skills, that's a tough sell.
What, AJ?
No, I'm good.
You were about to
I'm
say
good.
something.
I'll tap out.
I thank you, AJ. I thank you. That's
Okay.
I'm on Andre's side. I am also afraid of his wife.
I love Kate.
rightfully so.
Yeah, no, she's awesome, but getting on that bad side,
No, I wouldn't
I
want
feel
to
like
do it
that-
either.
I feel like that's how most people feel about their wives.
yeah, that's why you get one, is so that you can have someone that you're constantly afraid of that keeps you in line.
Keeps you in check. All right. Well, Broncos are in day 7 of training camp that happened today. The Broncos guys, our DNVR Broncos guys, recorded a show earlier today around 12 live and the podcast. So definitely go check that out for more of an in-depth analysis on what happened at practice today. But Dre, we do have 7 days of practice. Jerry Jeudy has what, AJ? We got to talk about the Broncos as well.
No, you said 7 days and made me think of that movie, The Ring. You know, where you put in the videotape into the VCR and it plays and it's just the ring and it's like, in 7 days you will die or whatever. That was all it made me think of, because you were like, it's been 7 days, and it made me think of that. That's all. I wasn't actually hating on anything.
I
That
was
might
going
be
to
how
say the
these
Broncos
7
are
days
the
have felt
last
to Alex.
topic of this podcast because it is just practice, like we said earlier, but we do have to talk about them as Jerry Jeudy, Drew Lock, Cortland Sutton. We've had a few guys really stand out. Von Miller was one of the guys that Mace stood out, and so did Ryan, saying that he was playing really well. What are your takes on Broncos training camp, Dre?
Yeah, I think you highlighted the real headliners. Is that this rookie class is starting to look as advertised. Ryan put it as Slant City from his report from practice yesterday, which really brings joy to my heart. Of course, a little bit of sadness in that KJ Hamler, the second rounder, has a hamstring injury. Is listed as 2 weeks out. But as Ryan and I were talking off air prior to coming on, with speedsters, with 4.3 40 type guys, you want to really be careful with the hamstring. So that gives us a little pause. Todd Davis also seemed to catch the injury bug. Doesn't seem to be long term, but that's going to give rookie Justin Sternot a lot of playing time in the middle of that defense. And I know Todd Davis isn't a fan favorite by any means, but he is the quarterback of that defense. I think he was a key in bringing Alexander Johnson along last year. So him being healthy for Vic Fangio's defense, I do think is key. It's encouraging to see guys like Lloyd Cushenberry, the rookie center, playing well. And as you mentioned, Von Miller playing very well. That's great. We kind of expected Von to be in a bit of a beast mode this year and really take over. The flip side of that is as DeMar Dodson, the new right tackle, is still coming along and getting fit for practice. Having Elijah Wilkinson at right tackle going against Von Miller has basically made practices unpracticable for the Broncos offense because they cannot guard their star edge rusher. So that's not what you love to hear, but at least they have a solution there to try and kind of figure that out. But for the most encouraging signs, Drew Lock had his interceptions early, but that's what you want. Get those out in practice, be aggressive. Seems like he's progressing nicely with his new weapon. So,
and some of those interceptions happened when Jerry Jeudy wasn't playing with the ones.
There you go. Yep.
Which is ridiculous. We talked about that last pod.
Yeah.
But Michael asked the same question I have. I know Bradley Chubb is playing a little bit, not too much. Do you have any updates on him? How do you think he's played? No, you haven't personally been out there, but any highlights you've seen?
Yeah, it doesn't sound like he's popped too much, but hey, it's 7 days in, bringing him along. Those MCL, ACL recoveries can take a little longer. You want to. The real thing is not re-aggravating anything, bringing it along slowly and being stabilized. So I wouldn't be too concerned.
And then they talked about it on the DNVR Broncos live, but really not hearing much about Garrett Bowles, which is a good sign as he's not standing out in a negative way. He actually addressed comments yesterday about being booed in a very, very mature way, saying that he understands that this fan base expects a lot from his players and the play that he had wasn't what they expected and wasn't good. So he's done everything he could this offseason to improve on that. What, AJ? It's good comment. Like, it's mature. Last season, we really didn't see Garrett Bowles being mature. He was blaming the refs. He was blaming coaches. And that type of response compared to what we're used to was a good sign to see.
Yeah, I remember when he was drafted and he was already 25 years old. So it's nice to know that now that he's pushing 30, he's decided to grow up.
Okay, well,
I mean, better late than never. If he ends up
than never,
as long as it translates into him to stop holding dudes and him to grade out as at least league average, I'm happy.
And I know talk is cheap. You got to show it with your actions.
Yeah,
but
exactly. We're going into year 5. I don't really care what he has to say. It's about him going out and doing his damn job for the first time in his career.
I agree, but at least we're seeing some sort of progression into the right side of things because it really wasn't that way last year. He was constantly blaming refs, saying that he wasn't holding, and when it was very obvious that he was. So at least
we'll see what happens when he gets into game action and he gets called for that first holding, and he'll either be like, oh, my bad, or he'll be like, and we're like, oh, hey, great, we're back to this. So hopefully he figures it out. That's all we've ever wanted was for him to stop being bad.
That's it. It's rejected 80s pop songs.
It's not personal.
Dre, what do you think? You're cutting off a bit.
Stop holding me, Bowles. It's all we ever wanted.
Okay, Drew.
It's freaking me out a little bit.
I'm going to start taking everything AJ says in the heat of the moment and turning them into songs. I think that's going to be my new thing.
In the heat of the moment?
In the heat of the moment, it's all I've ever wanted to Garrett Bowles to stop holding. Stop holding me, Garrett Bowles. It just sounded very much like an 80s pop song. I was enjoying it.
I don't want
Garrett look Bowles at that. Michael is joining in on writing your lyrics.
See?
Drew. He also asked how has the dynamic looked between Gordon and Lindsey. From what I've heard from the Broncos, guys, good. Lindsey definitely. Philip Lindsey is just a dog as he was in CU. Very unsurprising, but he is constantly like overworking, trying to prove himself. So for more on that dynamic, I would definitely check out the DNVR.com for all of our guys' takeaways from day 1 through 7. Dre, you're back.
I'm back. Yes. Yeah. Encouraging signs from Garrett Bowles, but he has to do it in games. Offensive tackle is kind of like playing goalie in the NHL or being a pitcher in the MLB. No one's going to praise you for the 28 saves you had or the 98 pitches you threw that didn't result in contact. Everyone's going to dwell on the 2 you let in goal or the 5 hits you allowed. It's true. It's a tough life, man, but everyone's going to dwell on that 1 sack, that 1 strip sack, that 1 fumble, that 1 holding or false start penalty. And he's got to eliminate that. It's not easy asking someone to be perfect 24/7 against other elite professional athletes is basically an impossible request, but that's what we're doing with offensive tackles, and that's kind of the standard Bulls has to be at. So yes, encouraged in practice, has to happen in games though, right?
I mean, especially when the Broncos franchise feels like they found their franchise quarterback, knock on wood. If Garrett causes something that makes Drew Lock get hurt, like he's really going to have to prove it out on the field.
100% huge year, but always best to bet on a player in a contract year than in any other season. So that's the situation with Garrett. That has to have you encouraged.
5th time's the charm.
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes longer for people.
Everyone breaks out in their late 20s, right, AJ? Isn't that what we know?
Yeah, I mean, I was
that
at
happens
28.
in baseball all the time. I was going to say.
I touch wood, Michael.
I'm just now starting to kind of at 33. So
yeah, exactly. Is that what we're doing with Brendan Rodgers? We're waiting 5 more years.
No.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Okay. Last pod, I did say that I was going to read any 5-star rating that we got on iTunes. So we've got Utes Av in here in the comments, and he actually, Ute fan for life, left a 5-star review on the Denver Sports Podcast on iTunes saying, "You guys are the best sports pod in the West. Love you guys. Go Avs, go. Utes Avs fan." And he wrote on here, "Avs over all other Denver sports teams, but you're a DNVR member and you listen to us, even if we're talking about all other Denver sports. So we appreciate you no matter what. Thank you for the 5-star rating." Late 20s is where it's poppin', says Rudo in the DNVR. Or was that you, AJ?
It was not me.
So Rudo's watching.
I am not watching my own podcast and then commenting on it at the same time.
I don't know. Maybe I interrupted you. Maybe I interrupted you and you really wanted to get a point across.
Oh man, I should have done that while I was frozen.
Oh yeah, that would have worked. That's what Drew tried to do, and someone brought it up the Walmart parking lot Wi-Fi. Drew was like, I have no Wi-Fi, but I'm here in spirit. But all right,
we'll
busy day here
Walmart
at the DNVR bar.
Oh, yeah.
So we are going to log off. Thank you for everyone watching. Thank you for everyone listening. Like I said, don't forget to give us a 5-star rating if you enjoy this podcast. And come down to the DNVR bar, read our stuff, subscribe, do it all. We really appreciate you guys, and we will see you next week. If it plays, is it playing?
Is it? No, I don't know.